A couple of weeks ago, I got a DM on Discord from someone I've never talked to before. They told me to check out the history of this Minecraft server they used to work on, so I did. And what I found was a story filled with controversy, wealth, and ultimately betrayal. It all starts around 2 years ago in July 2021, where a brand new Minecraft server called MelonSMP was just launched. The server had previously been around for a lot longer under the alias of a Dream Fandom Network. Yeah, I'm not making this up. Until it was eventually rebranded to what seemed like a normal survival server, complete with custom kits, shops, and more. And it seems like a lot of people enjoyed it, as MelonSMP would end up having a pretty successful launch, averaging around 200 concurrent players thanks to a few content creators making videos on it. With a simple gameplay concept, a growing online presence, and an active player base, it seems like this server would have a very promising and long-lasting future. But in reality, this couldn't be further from the truth, and little did all of these new players know what a complex story they were walking into. You see, by all accounts of the term, MelonSMP is a pay-to-win Minecraft server, a concept that often generates controversy within gaming communities. If we take a look at the MelonSMP store, which, by the way, is plastered literally everywhere around the server, we can see a variety of different things being sold. The first of which are various custom ranks which range from $9 at the lowest tier all the way up to $75 at the very most. And while these ranks boasted their own unique perks and features, one feature in particular remains consistent throughout all of them, and that's the inclusion of a specialized kit. As you can see, these kits contain tons of in-game items that will very obviously grant a massive advantage over other new players just starting out, essentially allowing them to circumvent any need to grind for gear and completely buy their way to the top. On top of these kits, they also have coins for sale, which are to be used in their special coin shop to buy certain cosmetics, as well as loot crates which are also advertised to contain insanely overpowered gear. All of this really begs the question, who is the founder of MelonSMP? And while researching this video, I wanted to find this question out too. So I decided to go back to YouTube, and after a bit of scrolling, I found this. Long-term viewers of the channel may already be familiar with the person that uses this profile picture, but to those that are new here, the founder of MelonSMP is a person simply named chxrlie, the same man that was responsible for the glennmc incident that unfolded late last year, which involved hacking into a former politician's Twitter account and abusing the power of the blue verified checkmark by using a bot to like millions of Minecraft players' posts, which ended up luring hundreds of people into joining another Minecraft server he owned called Skycube. That, interestingly enough, also turned out to be a pretty big pay-to-win scam, with Skycube's store not only featuring similarly overpriced items, but also looking the exact same as MelonSMP. However, while Skycube initially looked more promising due to its unique marketing strategy, it turned out to be a complete failure as no one ended up actually buying anything from the store, which would eventually lead the server itself and its accompanying Discord server to abruptly shut down within less than a month of its initial release. Whereas MelonSMP was not only fully operating, it was thriving. In March 2022, Melon would have one of their most successful months ever, with the server peaking over 600 players on some weekends and netting an insane $28,000 in revenue. In April, they made another $20,000. The following May, June, and July would also be pretty successful, and it was in this same month that chxrlie would leave the project. More specifically, he was bought out in a deal worth $65,000. While this number seems ridiculously large for a Minecraft server, it wasn't exactly out of the reach, considering that up to this point, MelonSMP had made almost $250,000 in total sales. The deal was accepted by two people named Dayton and Imod, who naturally would become the new owners of MelonSMP. And this is where everything starts to fall apart. Turns out, the person who originally messaged me was a former manager on the server, so I decided to hop in a call and ask him what really happened after the buyout.
So the buyout took 3 months. During that time, Dayton didn't want any updates going towards the server, and server went from 450, 500 concurrent players to 250.
During the time the deal was being made, MelonSMP received almost no gameplay or content updates at all. However, this wasn't their only problem. At the time, MelonSMP's last remaining original owner, Ho-Ho's, was known for mistreating the staff team.
But I loved that community. Loved that community all the way to the end. And it's sad to say because I don't think Ho-Ho's loved that community. There were many times where we were in calls and Ho-Ho's was sitting there and he was like, I'm not going to log on until this server has 600 players again. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, how are we going to get to 600 players if you're not going to be an active owner? How as a server are you going to grow if the person running the server doesn't want to run the server?
His bad attitude towards the server would prompt a bunch of staff members to resign from their positions. So in a last-ditch effort to save the server, Ho-Ho's would begin to add even more pay-to-win items to the store, such as loot crates that contained sharpest 50 items. And while this would make Melon a little extra money in the short term, it ultimately failed to stop the massive overall decline of the server. After a while, Ho-Ho's would lose interest and eventually resign himself in a settlement of less than $10,000. With both of the original owners out the picture, this makes room for an interesting theory.
I think that at the end of the day, Dayton wanted to buy out all of Melon, but he didn't want to pay $150,000 for it. So he basically devalued the server.
One of the original offers that was brought up but eventually declined was $150,000 to buy out both of the original owners. However, now Dayton completely owned MelonSMP for half the original price. But at what cost? The server was dying, active players were leaving left and right, and most importantly, the server was making barely any money at all. As of this current month, MelonSMP averages anywhere from 40 to 50 concurrent players during active hours, as low as 20 players during off hours, and has failed to make as little as $1,500 in revenue, which is almost a 95% decline compared to their best month. Behind every successful Minecraft server is an experienced staff team who at least somewhat cares about their player base. And after both the buyout and the mass resignation caused by Ho-Ho's, Melon simply just didn't have one anymore. Considering Dayton is also the founder of a multi-million-dollar mobile game company, it seems like he never really had the experience to run a Minecraft server at all, and just bought it in the hopes of it being a quick investment. And in the process of doing so, they left the server and the hundreds of thousands of individual players who joined in the dust forever. If you enjoyed the video, then please subscribe.